in, and now moving to Jeff Wolf, CEO at Heat Biologics. Jeff, if you could just give us an intro into Heat and maybe your approach to the virus as well.
Absolutely, and thank you, Christine. My name is Jeff Wolf, and I'm the founder and CEO of Heat Biologics. Ever since we announced our COVID-19 program on March 2nd, several issues, two issues in particular, have constantly arisen. First question is, who is Heat Biologics, and how are we going to compete against AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, and all the other big companies developing COVID-19 vaccines? Or in other words, what have we been smoking to lead us to believe that we can actually win in this arena? So first, Heat Biologics is focused on a very unique and powerful tools to activate T cells to destroy viruses, cancer cells, and pretty much anything else that shouldn't be there. We call our technology the GP96 platform and have been developing this platform for over a decade, actually testing it on hundreds of patients in multiple clinical trials, primarily in oncology, but clinical trials testing this platform. We find that our technology, the GP96 technology, activates a robust T cell immune response. In our lung cancer trials, the T cells that we activate, importantly, invade the mucosa or the lung to destroy cancer cells there. This is very important in a respiratory disease like COVID-19, which takes hold in the lung, and the first layer of defense may, in fact, actually be or needs to be the lung. We also collaborated with researchers at the University of Miami and elsewhere to develop prophylactic vaccines based upon our GP96 platform. As a matter of fact, our vaccine for Zika virus, malaria, and HIV were funded by the Department of Defense and the NIH. These vaccines were all based upon the GP96 platform and showed promising prophylactic protection in these models. In March, we announced that we'd be developing a unique COVID-19 vaccine based upon our GP96 platform. This vaccine would be different from other vaccines in a number of different ways. First of all, this vaccine would activate a robust T cell immune response compared to other vaccines that are in active trials. In our lung cancer trials, and these vaccines that are in trials today are primarily focused on antibody or humoral response. In our lung cancer trials, the T cells that we activate actually invade the lung. So we're hoping to see similar results in our COVID-19 trials where we're activating T cells actually against regions of the spike protein responsible for COVID-19. Number two, combined with approved, we can combine our vaccine with approved vaccines to provide a second layer of T cell protection to patients that need it most. So in other words, we're rooting for everyone and believe that we can add to the equation by adding this extra layer of T cell immunity to what others are developing for to generate antibody immunity. And finally, we focus our efforts on immunocompromised patients, like the elderly and patients with relevant comorbidities, the patients that are actually dying from COVID-19. So we have a vaccine platform that, unlike most of the other vaccine platforms under development, has been tested in hundreds of humans in multiple clinical trials. We've tested the same vaccine platform in numerous infectious disease models, including Zika, HIV, and malaria, with substantial National Institute of Health, NIH funding, and Department of Defense funding, and have seen positive prophylactic results. And finally, we're focused on assisting and preventing COVID-19 in those patients who need it most. And these are the patients that need an extra layer of T cell protection because they are elderly or have comorbidities or otherwise immune compromised. At Heat Biologics, we're developing an American homegrown COVID-19 vaccine, and are working hard to move our vaccine into clinical trials as fast as we possibly can. We've tested this platform in over 300 patients in various oncology trials. And what we see is it's the same platform, the same GP96 platform that we're using in COVID-19. And what we see is we inject it into patients, we activate a robust T-cell immune response, and the T-cells that we activate actually invade the lung where the COVID-19 resides, and in the lung, we destroy lung cancer cells. And so we've also tested our vaccine in collaboration with University of Miami on malaria, on Zika virus, on HIV, in numerous Department of Defense and NIH-funded studies. And what we see there is really great prophylactic protection. So we inject this in preclinical models, including primate models, and we see that the vaccine does what it's supposed to do. And in this case, what we've done is we've taken that same vaccine and we've specifically designed it against COVID-19 by transfecting the vaccine with regions of the S protein, the protein on the COVID-19 virus. So it's a very promising approach, and we really look forward to moving this into clinical trials in patients who need it as soon as we possibly can. T cells are extremely important in preventing coronavirus. So some of the recent data that has come out of both the US and China is show that T cells are really essential to preventing the onset of COVID-19. So adaptive immunity, humoral immunity can only go really so far. And there are cases where patients exhibit a strong antibody response and they still are dying from COVID-19. There are cases where patients are seeing very limited antibody response, but they're seeing robust T cell response, and they're not coming down with COVID-19. And so it's clear that T cells are becoming recognized as an important component of the immune system that's going to prevent COVID-19. And what we're focused on doing is really, our vaccine could be used as a standalone to generate T cells and antibodies, or be used in combination with other vaccines to generate an antibody response plus the robust T cell response that we would hope to show with our COVID-19 vaccine. So the two are extremely important, and what we plan to do is add an extra layer of T cell protection to those patients who need it most, the patients who are immunocompromised, who need that extra boost from T cells, and can utilize our vaccine to generate this T cell response. That's a great question, Christine. In our case, what we're doing is we're developing a vaccine that could be used as a standalone vaccine, or can also be combined with other vaccines to provide an added layer of T cell protection. And as I mentioned before, most of these other vaccines in development now, GSK and Moderna, Pfizer, Inovio, are primarily focused on antibody immunity, and we're focused on T cell immunity. So the idea would be to apply and utilize our vaccine in combination with any one of those, with any approved vaccine out there, to provide an added layer of protection for the patients who need it most. And these are the elderly patients who otherwise lack a healthy immune system, the patients who are actually dying of COVID-19. So our strategy is to work with everyone and anyone to get a better combination vaccine out there. And that's why we're rooting for all of them, because we want a vaccine out there. We want that antibody piece to be covered, and our goal is to come in there with a vaccine that's primarily going to activate the T cell arm of the immune system to prevent COVID.
Yes.